was here?
No, it was before 8.
Yeah, I was at the coffee shop.
morning. Wasn't that cool? While our Black Hawk goes and refuels the first part of our program, our high school choir is going to sing the national anthem under the direction of Miss Cindy Shannon.
Twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Thank you, choir. Great job. On behalf of our high school students and our high school student council, we would like to present thank you cards for all of our servicemen in attendance today. So we'd like to ask for all of our servicemen, past and present, to come down to the track area where you'll be presented cards from our student council. Thank you. And I'd like to personally thank all of our servicemen, past and present, and women for their service. Thank you. Please give them a round of applause. It's my honor at this time to present our first speaker for the day, Command Sergeant Major Jared Worley of the 1 to 108th Aviation Battalion, also a graduate of the Galena High School class of 1995.
Good morning, Galena. So this was the, I don't really have a speech or anything, but this was the coolest thing I've ever been able to do in my entire life. I was telling Colonel Marshall this morning, we were at the flight facility getting ready to load up, that I've walked to school, I've driven to school, I've rode a bus to school, my parents have dropped me off, I've even skated to school one time. I've never, ever in my entire life thought I would fly in a Black Hawk to school. How cool is that? So I'm going to give away my age. 1995, in May, I was standing here graduating on, this wasn't even here at the time, it was gravel. And 30 years later, here I am again, looking out at about, what, 700? Is that what I heard? 700 faces. This is amazing. I enlisted in the Kansas Guard 30 years ago because of in 1993 we had a flood down here, and I got to see the Kansas Guard rescue people and do all that, and I thought that was the coolest thing. And so I wanted to be a part of that. And then I got to travel the world. I've been to Central America, I've been to Europe, been to almost every country in Europe, a couple by accident. But we won't go into that. I just got on the wrong train and I ended up in the wrong place. So, did 3 tours to Iraq. My wife's been with me for the last 24 years. I've got 3 girls and 2 grandchildren. So that tells you where I'm at my age. But I really appreciate the opportunity. What you saw coming in was a Black Hawk. It's a UH-60. It started around 1970 something when they brought it in. But that mission that we have for the 108th and the Kansas Army National Guard, or in the National Guard period, they have a federal mission, they have a state mission. The federal mission, they do what the president requires of us. And on the state side, they participated in wildfires where they drop water on top of the fires. They put them out, to even sling loading cattle out of western Kansas when it was freezing. So they rescued hundreds and hundreds of cattle years ago, and so they've got multiple missions. It's a great organization. I can't thank them enough. But went to school because of the Guard. They paid for everything. And so if you're interested, we have recruiters out here that can tell you more about it. But when you get a chance and an opportunity to be able to walk around the aircraft later, talk with the air crew, ask them a ton of questions because that's what they're here for. And with that said, I believe that I'm going to give it over to Colonel Marshall. Thank you again.
This time to present Lieutenant Colonel Keith Marshall, the Chief Government and Legislative Affairs Office of the Kansas Army National Guard, and a graduate of the Galena High School class of 1999.
Thank you, Coach, my high school basketball coach there. Good morning. What a great day to be Galena Bulldog, right? So the last time I stood here and addressed a crowd in this stadium was my high school graduation when I spoke. And I wanted it to come from the heart. So I didn't want to write anything down. I wanted to speak from the heart. And I ended up saying something really dumb. And so I wrote my remarks down today. In fact, it was so dumb that my uncle actually made a t-shirt with a picture of me speaking at my high school graduation with the quote on there for me so I could remember that for all time. So I learned a good lesson at high school graduation. That's write down what you say, because you never know what's going to come out of your mouth when you get in front of a crowd and your brain just goes into a fog. So I want to thank the school leaders, the community leaders, the Kansas National Guard, Congressman LaTurner and his office, everybody that came together to make this happen. There were a lot of moving pieces to this and a lot of people involved in making this event happen, Recruiting Command. I'm really excited for you all to have the opportunity to learn about something very special to me, and that's the Kansas National Guard. There are a lot of things that people don't know about the National Guard. For example, did you know that the National Guard is older than our country itself? We declared independence in 1776, but the National Guard traces its roots back to the first muster in Massachusetts in 1636, nearly a century and a half earlier than that. The Massachusetts Bay Colony ordered the organization of the colony's militia to possess arms and participate in defense of the colony. The early colonial militia drilled once a week and provided guard details to sound the alarm in case of an attack. The National Guard continues its historic mission of providing units for first-line defense of our nation for 388 years now, older than the country itself. So when we wear this uniform, we're part of a long, unbroken line of patriots that have stood up and said we're going to defend our communities, our state, and our country for over almost 400 years now, and that's really something special for us to be a part of. In fact, when America was founded, the National Guard is what they envisioned as a military force for the new country. America declared independence and formed under the Articles of Confederation, and over the next 10 years, the Constitution was developed and debated, and they talked about what they wanted a military force to look like. And what they didn't want was a big federal force that was at risk of coming in and occupying the communities. They had a bad experience with the British occupying their communities, and they didn't want that. So Alexander Hamilton wrote part of the Federalist Papers. Paper number 29 is about the militia, and he called for federal funding of a force, federal training of a force, but for that force to come from within the communities. And that's really what the National Guard is today. It's people from your communities, it's your family members, it's your friends who have stood up and raised their hand and said that they will defend your community, your state, and your country. And that's exactly what the National Guard still is today. It's a federally funded force, it's under the control of Kansas, and it draws our troops from every city, county, and district in the state of Kansas. So I'm a sixth-generation Kansan. My great-grandfather fought for the Union in the Civil War and then moved west to Kansas in pursuit of the American dream. And he settled in north-central Kansas, and we've been Kansans ever since. My kids are now seventh-generation Kansans. So we're not just in the community. We're not just here for a short period of time. We are the community. As Alexander Hamilton said many years ago, we mingle with you. We have the same feelings, sentiments, habits, and interests. We're your kids' football and basketball coaches. We serve on boards in the community and maybe teachers in your school. Some of us are elected officials, doctors, nurses. If a disaster were to strike Galena like a tornado or a flood, like the Sergeant Major talked about, who do you want answering the call for our great state? I would say it's people from this community who know the people, who know the community, and are ready to respond. And that's why I love being part of the National Guard. And we're also fortunate to live in a country where people still appreciate the sacrifices that military life entails. We're all stopped occasionally, and people thank us for our service. Just last week, someone paid for lunch for 6 of us that were out at a restaurant in Topeka. But I also have to respond when they do that. Thank you for the opportunity to do what we do. The National Guard and being part of that has been everything to me. When I needed a way to better myself and continue my education, the National Guard's education programs like the Montgomery GI Bill and tuition assistance scholarships were there. I was able to get a bachelor's and a master's degree at no cost to me. It was completely paid for. Those are probably worth over $100,000. So I've been able to make a great living, provide for my family, travel the world, and most importantly, serve something greater than myself. The National Guard embodies that spirit of service. And that's what I want you to think about today. How will you serve something greater than yourself? The National Guard is an amazing opportunity, in my opinion, one of the best kept secrets out there. You can serve part-time when you go to college or pursue a career, or you can serve full-time like I have for the last 17 years of my 23 years in uniform, all while getting the benefits of being an active duty person right here in Galena, or in Kansas. You can learn a trade, you can get professional certifications, you can go to college for free, you can provide health insurance for yourself and your family. So I'd like nothing more than to see everybody here who's able to sign up and serve in the National Guard. And even if you don't do that, find a way to serve something greater than yourself. There are many ways and many opportunities to do that, whether it's in uniform or out of uniform. Don't just live life for yourself. You'll miss out on the richness of serving others and all that comes with that. So thank you again today for all your support. Thank you for such a great welcome that we got when we arrived here. It's great to be home in Galena. It's a great day to be a Galena Bulldog. It's a great day to be a Kansas National Guardsman. God bless America. Thank you.
speaker, also one of my former students, is U.S. Congressman for the United States House of Representatives, Jacob Turner, a graduate of the Galena High School class of 2006.
Where are the students from Spring Grove? You can do better than that. Let's hear it again. The students from Spring Grove. Yeah. How about the kids from Liberty? And how about the high school? Don't be cynical. Let's hear you too. Yeah. You all did better than the high school did, if we're being honest. I want to thank you so much for having me here today. It's good to be home in Galena, Kansas. I want to thank the students, the staff, and the faculty here at Galena. I want to thank Madam Mayor, I saw somewhere a little bit ago, the Superintendent Ben Cleve, my 7th grade science teacher, Mr. Sarwinski, Mr. Krause. Very pleased to be with you. I'm most pleased to be here with my family, though. My dad is here, my brother, my sister, my wife Suzanne, and our 4 kids, Ava, Joe, Maggie, and Gus. And whereas you all are all getting a break in the day, they got to miss school all day, so they're pretty pleased about making the trip down. Just over a month ago, Keith Marshall, Colonel Marshall, who grew up next door to me on La Maja Street here in Galena, we had a pool, or we had a trampoline that straddled the property lines between the two of us. He was sitting in my office in Washington, D.C. in his role as legislative liaison for the Kansas National Guard. And with him was the Kansas Adjutant General. And Keith and I were reminiscing about what an incredible experience it was when, at the time, Principal Ray Dykens brought a Black Hawk helicopter in to land on the football field over 25 years ago. It was a great experience, and we were talking about it, and the General said, "Would you like to do that again before you leave Congress?" And I said yes. And I said yes for 2 reasons. Most importantly, as was mentioned by the Colonel before, it's a chance to recognize our service members, our veterans, and hopefully inspire students to consider serving in the armed services as well. But as Keith said, no matter what you do, make sure that service is a part of your career path. The second reason I was excited is because in a couple of months, my time in elective office, at least temporarily, will come to an end. And I wanted a chance to come back to my hometown and say thank you. I'm honored to be here with Colonel Marshall, with Command Sergeant Major Worley. Great job, both of you. Their service and sacrifice to this state and to this nation is nothing short of inspirational. I want to thank all the veterans in this audience for your service to our country. In Washington, D.C., just south of the Lincoln Memorial, sits the Korean War Memorial. And just above the reflecting pool on granite, it says, "Freedom is not free." It's a powerful message about the service and sacrifice that the men and women of this country have been willing to give. Just down the road a ways is the National Archives, where we proudly display the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. These are the greatest legal documents ever conceived in human history, but they're only as good as our willingness as a nation to defend them. This is the greatest nation in the history of the world, and that's not hyperbole. Travel anywhere in the world and you will find that there is no place that celebrates and practices the principles of liberty, equality, and justice, despite all of our flaws, more than the United States of America. We are unique, we are special, and it is because of the grace of the Lord above and these brave men and women in uniform that are among you today. Please help me thank all of our active duty and all of our veterans that are here today one more time with a big round of applause. Now, I want to be clear with all of you. I represent Silver Lake, who the football team plays tomorrow in the United States Congress just as much as I represent Galena in the United States Congress. But I don't want there to be any confusion about who I'll be rooting for tomorrow at the game, okay? Are you going to win? Yeah. I've had this hat a long time, and it's been on 4 different continents and over 20 countries. I take it with me for a couple of reasons. One is because I want to take a little piece of Galena with me wherever I go, and the other reason is because people ask what the G stands for. If it's a Washington, D.C. crowd, they assume it's Georgetown, but I get to tell them about my favorite place in the world, and it's right here where I'm standing with all of you. Thomas Wolfe wrote a book entitled You Can't Go Home Again. He did not know Galena, Kansas. I owe a debt of gratitude to my family, my friends, the teachers and staff at this school, and this community at large that I can never repay. It was an amazing place to grow up. And all of you students are getting to live this today. It's the kind of community where you know virtually everyone at the football game on Friday night, and you know virtually everyone at church on Sunday morning. I felt a part of something here. People care about each other. And it was a safe place to dream big. And I was always a dreamer. The ability to have dreams is first instilled by your family. I was blessed enough to have that growing up. My dad and my grandparents believed I could do anything and tempered that ambition with humility that didn't always take. They would say things and still do, like don't get too big for your britches. I pray each student here today has that same love and devotion at home. But I know that not all of you do. And regardless of your circumstances, whether it's not exactly the family you want, or it's not exactly the financial circumstances you want, or it's not exactly the social status that you want, this is a great place to live because the community will support your dreams too. As I was looking on the school website, I counted over 45 members of the current staff at USD 499 that were here when I was in school, or I went to school with them. I know these people, and I know their hearts. And I know that just like they supported and taught me, and I put some of them through a lot, I'm sure some of you do the same, and that's why I was assured that none of them would get the microphone today other than Mr. Krause, because we don't need to hear any of those stories. But I know that they supported my dreams in big ways and little ways that I'm sure they don't even realize, and I promise they will for each and every one of you too. But remember, a dream without a plan is just a wish. Now, for the elementary school students here today, just dreaming and working hard at school is enough. If you want to be a professional athlete or a YouTube star, I understand it. I've got 4 kids as well. But to the juniors and seniors, if you want to be a professional athlete or a YouTube star, I hope you have a plan. I think Mr. Krause would agree with me about that. As I said before, I hope that many of you plan to serve your country in the armed forces. I hope hearing these men today inspired you, but it's not the only way you can serve. You can be in service to your friends by being loyal and honest, in service to your school by being a good role model and a serious student, or be in service to your country by being a good citizen. Don't be afraid to dream and be of service to others. And hear me when I tell you this. You can achieve anything you're willing to work hard enough for. Whether your professional dream is to serve in the armed forces, the corporate boardroom, the trades, the entertainment industry, the courtroom, the classroom, the hospital, or the halls of Congress, you can do it. Because Galena Bulldogs belong everywhere. Thank you to our veterans, to our service members here today, and thank you to this community for allowing me to achieve my dreams. God bless you all.
Forgot the middle school.
What is it?
You forgot
got to middle school?
Oh,
When you were...
Ross is shy, everyone. Well, hold on. What building is the middle school in? Liberty, which I said. Oh, come on. Well, there's no heckling here, but okay. Middle school, you have an opportunity. Let's hear it as loud as you can. You got to be louder than Spring Grove. I don't know. It's pretty good. Thank you all so much.
Now, I didn't personally get the opportunity to know Command Sergeant Major Worley at his time here at Galena High School. He was graduated a few years before I got here, but I got the opportunity to know Keith Marshall very well and Jacob Turner very well, and I knew at that time that those two, including our other servicemen here today, were going to do great things, and they have. So please give them a round of applause again. Since we have a few minutes before our Black Hawk returns, I'm going to read the history of our Black Hawk helicopter. The Black Hawk helicopter was designed by Sikorsky in 1972 to replace the Army's previous helicopter, known as the Bell UH-1 Iroquois. The first Black Hawk prototype flew in 1974. The Black Hawk first entered military service in the United States Army in 1979. The Black Hawk helicopter has been used in many military operations, including Grenada, Panama, Iraq, Somalia, the Balkans, Afghanistan, and the Middle East. It can carry up to full 20 equipped military personnel or 20 lightly equipped personnel. The Black Hawk has been upgraded and modified over the years, including things like a more powerful engine, advanced electronic equipment, flight control systems, and navigation systems. Numerous other countries also use the Black Hawk as part of their military fleet. The United States Army plans on continuing to use the Black Hawk for many years to come. And also at this time, we'll play a little rendition that our high school band done so that we can listen to that while we're waiting for the Black Hawk to return.
What's up, Amber? Your daddy